Welcome back to another live episode of the Mind Your Business, the podcast that gives entrepreneurs the tools to grow their business, truth about how to grow, scale, and how to put your actually grow and scale without putting your personal life on the line. I'm your host, Max Fortune, business credit strategist, entrepreneur, founder of GetBiz.Credit, and where we help business owners access funding and opportunities without using their personal credit or personal guarantees. Now, today we're diving into a topic that a lot of people think is impossible, and that's getting business loans with no credit. That's right. No personal credit checks, no co-signers, no drama. Just straight up strategies that actually work when you know how to use business credit the right way. So if you're like most entrepreneurs, you probably face the frustration of trying to secure funding with less than perfect credit or even no credit at all. But here's the reality. It doesn't have to be that way, and you can unlock funding without putting your personal score at risk. And today we're going to be doing or talking exactly about that. So um, we're not just talking about theory here, though. This is based on real world success stories from business owners who use the right setup and the right funding ladder to get access to capital without risking their personal financing, which is the whole game and the goal. And here's the best part: um, you don't have to use your personal risk your personal finances. So I do want to also let people know that you're here to talk, not just to you, but at you, or not at you rather, but to you. So we're going to get interactive today. So this is a live broadcast, and then I want to hear from you. If you want to call, if you have any present business credit questions, you can call the studio at 877-302-3363. Again, you can call 877-302-3363. I think we have the number on the screen somewhere. So let's tackle your questions, your challenges, and your experiences live and unscripted. Before we get too deep into this episode, let me just say this is really, we focus on the what and not the why. So if you want the full blueprint, you're serious about taking the next step, stick around to the very end, and I'll share with you a few ways you can plug into business credit building system that and get some expert help. Now, joining me in the studio today is a special guest who I'm honored to have in the studio, and she'll be asking some of the business credit questions that several business owners have sent in. So instead of answering the usual film industry questions, she's here to ask some real questions. She's here to ask some of the real business credit questions that entrepreneurs have sent in and that want answers to. So we're going to do that. She's going to do it here. And I'm talking about none other than Tyjon Tom, also known as Ask the Producer. Ty,
Hello,
welcome to
hello,
the show.
hello, hello, hello. Thank you very much for having me. I appreciate you considering me for this episode. And yeah, let's get into it.
All right. Now, again, before we dive into the questions, let me tell you a little bit about Tyjon for people who aren't familiar, um, and why I'm excited to have her here in the studio. So she has gone from indie beginnings to industry powerhouse. She's built a career on fearless storytelling and sharp business acumen. Her debut film, My Sofa, and it was an indie drama about a Latin singer's journey set the stage for her creative vision. She followed up with Hope, an award-winning experimental film about an abandoned baby and his drug dealing mother, which won an audience choice. Was an audience choice at Shorts Fest in 2013, solidifying her reputation as a filmmaker with depth and boldness. But she didn't stop there. She founded Imavio Studios. I'm still trying to get that right. Did I get that right? Okay. Creative writing and development company specializing in scripts and high impact commercials for major brands like Coca-Cola, UPS, and Cox Communications. Um, and with a talent for emerging storytelling with branding, she became a sought after creative force, seamlessly navigating the worlds of advertising, TV, and film. So, why are we talking about this today? We're talking about this because film and all your other creatives that goes with business credit. So, these two things work together. If you are a creative and you have uh, any type of thing that you're trying to do creative, it costs money. It takes money. Doesn't it takes money
Yes, it does.
to
Yes, it does.
get that done. So I do want to. I know you've worn many hats: writer, director, producer, brand strategist. Again, she has a lot of knowledge and information, especially in the industry that she's in. Um, she also has your latest book I want to talk to people about, which is Life on the Set, where she actually hands you the blueprint to develop your craft, take action, and scale your creations into wealth building opportunities. So whether you're stepping on to your first set or looking to level up in the industry, The book delivers the lessons, insights, and real world strategies to make it happen. So, Tyjon, again, it is an absolute pleasure to have you here today.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Max. Thank you. This is going to be exciting. I'm going to get a chance to share some insight and take the mystery out of obtaining funds to actually put those funds into something that you want to do versus, you know, putting funds in and, really not gaining anything out of what you're doing. Just the idea of you being able to go to the next level because you're dealing with business credit versus personal credit. It's just night and day.
It is, and it's important. And more importantly, the amount of people that I talk to that just aren't really aware that that's a thing or that they can get that set up or how does it work and all the questions. And that's the reason why I like doing this show, kind of doing segments like this. It's just kind of, I do what I do every day, which is talk to people about kind of not leveraging their personal credit and kind of protecting that or keeping it separate. And then the difference of how you navigate those two worlds. So I think it's super important. And honestly, how it does filter into all different things. Again, especially like in the film industry, it's something that probably the last thing a creative is thinking about or a filmmaker is thinking about is business credit. And some of them don't even think about business or that it's a business, and it is business.
Yeah, most of the time they believe that the money is supposed to come from outside. Someone else is supposed to give them the money because their idea is so wonderful. But I look at that and then, I also look at something that my mentors have told me. What are you investing in your own project?
Yeah, yeah.
How much have you invested in yourself and your own idea? Why is someone going to care if you haven't even put in, any blood, sweat, and tears
It's a great point. That is a
in
great
your
point.
own idea?
Yeah. So this is a way for you guys to do that, to put some blood, sweat, and tears. Not even too much of it. Even having somebody else's blood, sweat, and tears help your vision in a different kind of way. So, but again, there's different things even to get into the table. There's things you have to kind of put some money to, even putting together a sizzle reel and some of those other things. So,
All that,
and having some access to capital to even make your pitch look great.
all
So
that.
there's different reasons. So,
Hmm.
Ty, let's just kick it off. Let's get in. Let's get into some of the questions that you have
Okay.
that was sent in. And again, I thank you for coming in and doing this and
My
sharing.
pleasure.
Yeah.
My pleasure. So we have a question. First question is it actually possible to get a business loan without personal credit?
You know what? It actually is. Again, it's something I talk about all the time. It's 100% possible. It's not magic. It's strategy. So, business credit really is setting up business as a separate legal entity from personal credit. And if you set up the right way, you can build the right kind of profile because it's really super important is to build the right kind of credit profile. There are lenders out there that definitely will give you credit and they won't check your personal score. So the key is to play the game by the business credit rules, and some people just don't know what that is. I think I run into a lot of people who will say, "Well, I've kind of set up some things, and maybe they'll have three or four of the main things that you need to get started." And there's like 12 things that you need just at the beginning, what we call phase one. And most people don't have all of those ducks in a row, and they'll have maybe four or five, and then go out and try to apply for credit and wondering why they're either not getting approved or getting low amounts or low access, or even being asked to PG, as they call it, or personal guarantee things. And that's kind of in the beginning, you always have to do that. But the goal is to get to a place where you're not personally guaranteeing. Uh, your business is standing on its own. You're not personally guaranteeing that, so you're not risking your personal credit to to do that. So it is possible, very possible. You see it every day.
Well, that's good to know. Um, I think that the listeners would definitely feel more comfortable, about finding that information out if that's not information that they were aware of prior to listening. I think that that would give them a kind of like a light bulb,
Yeah,
if you will, to
it should.
say
It should.
maybe I should try
Yeah,
it.
yeah, yeah.
Maybe I should, move forward with, seeing if it would work for me. I I'll get into the next question. What kind of loan are we actually talking about? Is it just something that is, minuscule or something that's pretty substantial?
Well, it can be pretty substantial when you get into business credit loans. And just think about because it's business, the amounts generally tend to be higher than they are on personal loans. Um, Outside of, I guess, personally, you're buying a house or something like that. But on the business side, you can get access to, I mean, loans really don't have, you can get access to loans in the millions, hundreds of millions of dollars. But again, for starting out, if you're just kind of getting going, getting started, you want to do some things. We're talking about legitimate lenders, the people who will lend for equipment financing or merchant cash advances, revenue-based loans, um, unsecured business lines, and fintech lenders who also specialize in funding-based loans. So a lot of it's based on your performance and not your personal credit. So having that set up and having those things in place is super, super important. So it's like
Go
having,
back,
huh?
go back. You said funded based.
So
What was that phrase?
um, where I was saying it's funded based on
Based
your
on.
personal
Okay.
or your business performance, kind of
Mm-hmm.
like how your bank records are, or how really that's the big snapshot is what you have there, and the kind of being able to track on some
Okay.
of that. So that's part of it. That's
Okay.
it's a whole um it's part of it. So yep, on the next question. So and basically the first thing is you're not on your personal credit. So that is the whole.
Okay.
Yeah.
So our next question is, how does a business actually qualify if they don't use their personal credit?
So that is a great question. So they basically qualify. There's business credit reports just like their personal credit reports. So the um, they look at business credit report. They look at your bank account history. They look at your revenue, and sometimes just how your business is structured. So there's something called a paydex score, which is kind of like your FICO score on the personal side. So those are the things that these lenders are looking at. Your business credit file, how long you've been incorporated, how your business manages cash flow, and things like that. So that's why we always talk about the importance of structure, because if you don't have the things that they want to see or that they're looking for, or the things that they're going to pay attention to, or then again, you'll get passed over for that loan. And a lot of times, there are a lot of instances. So um, there are definitely things that you want to do. You want to put things in place, and that's the system I'm going to talk about a little bit more at the end. GetBiz.Credit. It kind of because so many people we talk to don't really know what they need to do. So this system kind of tells you what you need to know, who you need to set things up with. The lenders pretty much gives you every step of the way, everything you need to do. Just kind of takes all the guesswork out of what you need to do to get your own personal credit set up. So that's why I think it's
Okay.
really important. So
Okay.
yeah, I think that's
That's very helpful.
yeah.
Very helpful. What does a business actually need in place to even apply, even if they were just, okay, I'm going to try this out and I'm going to basically put myself in a position where now I actually can make some moves with my business. And if I wanted to apply, I'm just going to go and apply, or I'm just going to basically have a certain amount already in place to say, okay, I can only apply for this amount because I'm at this stage? Or can I just go all out and apply for what I want to apply?
Well, you know what? It's also a great question there, and it's about setting yourself up in a way to what you call being fundable. And not every business is set up to be fundable, and mainly because like I said earlier, is not having the some of the basics things set up at the onset, like the foundational things that you really need. One of those things most people have an EIN. Most people do the LLC or corporation paperwork. Some people will not think about having a business bank account. That's super, super important. Having a phone number that's not your cell number, is important. Business address, the in a business address that's not your personal address. And so some people that's a big thing when you're trying to really get funding. You have to have those two things. Those two things should be set apart. Um, and there's a whole bunch of different things. The most important thing is that your listings and everything that you kind of put together should match. So because again, it's giving your profile. So it shouldn't be some of this and some of that, or just everything should match up and line up. And so that's what's super important about being able to get that foundational step. um, Once you kind of get those 12 things, like I said, we talk about, which are the phase one stuff, then you're actually at the point where you're ready to start building vendor credit and getting net 30, 60, and 90-day. And what net 30 is that, you can get access to um, funds or even supplies and not have to pay for it for 30 days, which means gives you time to actually sell those supplies before you even have to pay for it, as they're giving you a 30-day or 60-day or even a 90-day uh, term to turnaround time on it. So,
Okay.
um,
So these types of companies, I could just say, for instance, if I needed to get a motorcycle, could I get a motorcycle?
what business do you need a motorcycle?
It hypothetical. If I
I mean,
needed a
no,
motorcycle and I
so
want a
let's say,
motorcycle for
okay,
30 days,
or
it's my business and I need it for my business.
that's I don't know. That's I don't know.
It
Anyway,
it
so let's
wouldn't
say a
it
vehicle.
wouldn't qualify.
I don't know. I can't say
Okay.
that it wouldn't qualify, but generally it's got to be something you would use in your business for your
Hmm.
business. Maybe you were a delivery person and you were delivering on a motorcycle. Why? But I don't know.
Okay.
Maybe that's the case. But again, any kind of business, whatever that is, you have. But yes, you can get vehicles. You can get uh, really anything that a business needs. You can definitely get credit for it. It should be working to get credit for it. Now, and again, it's about steps, taking the step here and then kind of going to the next step and going to the next step. And so that's what how a person should be looking to do it. They shouldn't be looking to say, "Oh, I want to get business credit," and tomorrow they're applying for a motorcycle
Okay.
and trying to get in the name of the business.
Not
Set that.
necessarily material toys,
Well,
things
definitely
that
not
you actually
toys.
need.
Well, it should be stuff that
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
need to do because it should be stuff that you need to operate your business with. That's the whole premise. And that's the whole idea. The That is, like I said, that's the whole idea, is to be able to set it up where you're getting credit to do things that are gonna operate or help your business be better. So,
Okay. What if I have bad personal credit?
well, that happens. It happens a lot. The great thing is that when you do this and you set this stuff up right. Now, I'm going to answer this question probably in two ways. The first part is that, like in the beginning, setting up credit again, especially if you're trying to go to higher limits or whatever, your personal credit does come into play until you get everything set up foundationally to where it doesn't come into play. So you can have bad personal credit and still have good business credit if you set up the things the right way, because they're completely separate. Completely separate. One in the beginning, like I said, when you're doing it, it does some things do require, some credit, personal credit. They want to look at your personal credit, but the goal is to get it to a point where they don't care about your personal credit. Your business has built up enough merit that it's just can do it on its own. So
Okay.
we have like it's like almost like a blueprint to follow. And I always tell people like GetBiz.Credit is kind of like a GPS system. What kind of will help you to navigate the direction where you're trying to go.
Well, blueprint sounds like it would take a long time. How long would it actually take to build
It,
business credit?
it, it doesn't take a long time. It doesn't have to take a long time. It depends on how focused the person is. Um, we see people getting access to credit could happen 30 days, 60, 90 days. But the optimal stuff, the part and the realistic part of it is if you're really trying to get the higher limits, the 100, $200,000 loans without putting your personal guarantee in, your credit tied to it. Yeah, that's a 6 to 12 month in that window. So you just want to kind of have realistic expectations
Hmm.
of what to expect, because it's not just today and then tomorrow you're going out and applying for that or that level of it. Now again, in 30 days, you could clearly be setting up some of these vendor accounts, these tier one creditors. That definitely happens all the time in 30 days. And the goal is to kind of get these, is to establish a pattern of that you can pay back, and you're showing, you're demonstrating that you can be responsible with credit, and then it just gets higher and higher from there. So what we do at GetBiz.Credit is shows you exactly who those lenders are, and help you to do that. Now, one thing I do want to kind of say, a lot of times business owners don't realize a lot of the things, almost 80 or 90% of the things a business spends regularly in the operation of the business, honestly doesn't even report to the the business credit bureaus. So that's why there's a lot of people who are in business, who've been in business for a while, and still could have zero business credit
because
because
they're not reporting it.
right, because
Or
most
it's not.
places just don't. So you have to be very intentional when it comes to business credit. Like personal credit, you really, if you get it, you pay it, you got good credit. You don't pay it, you got bad credit. You don't have to be intentional. You just have to, whatever you're doing is going to get reported. Now, business credit, you could be paying on a building like this, or tools or whatever, and still not have any business credit whatsoever.
Mhm.
You have to know who is reporting to the bureaus so that you're going to get credit for that. That's going to help you build to the next level. So if you're not intentional, again, I use that word a lot because you have to exactly know what you're doing and who you're doing it with. Otherwise, you just, you're not getting where you're trying to get to.
Now, this is a two-part question. Um, is this type of loan, like this setup, is this good for startups? Because um, the people in my world of film and creativity, everything they do is a startup. Every time you wrap a project, the next one
This is true.
starts. It's a startup, and you have to determine the chain of ownership and lock that product down because you have to know where it started. So it's a startup
And
every
that's
single time.
an interesting, because of that world specifically in that. So I'm going to say yes. You don't have to be. You can get business credit with a startup, and actually, I always recommend.
And what about the products? You were talking about the products and things that you would need. Like, for instance, could we have a line of credit at a camera store? Could we have a line of credit with a post house? Like,
Yeah.
could we do
So,
something like that?
well, to be honest with you, and I'm going to be straight honest with you, I don't even know if we have that specific vendor in there. It's a post house or whatever,
That's a
because
problem.
it could be. I'm just being honest with you, just telling you
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
But it's not to say we can't probably help you figure
Yeah.
out, okay, a person's going to do that. Now, I would say in a specialized industry like that, it is a little bit more difficult to find vendors who are going to report to those bureaus. And the reason why that is it costs money for companies to report to. It's not free for you to report
Hmm.
your credit history. So that's why everyone doesn't do it. So you can be a startup, and most of this stuff does really, if you're a startup in a traditional sense, I guess, in traditional brick and mortar, or not even brick and mortar, whatever that business is.
Hmm.
I encourage people, when you're starting up, that's the best time to start, because as you're growing, it takes a while to do this. So you want to give yourself time to grow into higher things as well. Uh, so you want to start as soon as you know you want to get a business going. You want to start working on establishing business credit. That's just what you want to do. And so uh, I will say there is different kinds. Like I said, the vendor credits, the fuel cards, um, lines of credit, and um, some places will even lend you even if you don't have revenue yet. So, or give you credit. And so,
But you already said vehicle companies will. So that's a specific area in our, business where, we have these particular types of vehicles, so those could, be along the lines of things you need for your business, things you need to operate your business.
yeah, and there's always ways to kind of set things up to where, even with vehicles, that's one thing, but even the way that you get the money to pay for the vehicle
Hmm.
can be reported, even if
Hmm.
it's not the end product is, but the way you get the money to pay for it could be. Do you understand what I mean
Yes,
by that?
I do. I do.
So yeah, so there's different ways, and again, and that's why there's not like a one size fits all when it comes to business credit. I mean, there is a blueprint, there's a map, and we have that map for how you need to do to get it set up, because there is a way to start it. Everyone's got to pretty much start off at the same way. Um, but the type of accounts that you set up should be specific to what you could use and what you ask what you need. And then sometimes in the beginning, those vendors that give you credit without credit, sometimes there are the accounts that you may not need a bunch of mops or buckets, but those that's the guy who's giving you,
Hmm.
Granger or one of those places that giving you supplies like that, and you're just there is a certain dollar amount you have to spend with certain vendors at that time for them to report it.
Hmm.
So, like I said, there's a structure, there's a rules, there's a process, and if you kind of once you understand how that world works, you start setting things up accordingly. If that makes sense.
Well, what kind of mistakes do people actually make? Because um, I know that there are people out there that would, call on you and say, "Hey, I'm interested in you walking me through this and helping me with what, I don't know." And then there are other people that just want to just go and do it the way they think it's supposed to be done, but it's incorrect. So, are there people that, what are those mistakes that people
The,
find themselves making?
the biggest mistake is people apply too early. They don't get that foundational thing set up. Um, so they'll think they kind of have the, 4 or 5 of those, like I said, those 12 things. They'll think that they have those things set up, and we'll go ahead and just apply things and wonder why they're either getting turned down, or the limits or credit that they're being extended is very low. And that's because you haven't fully established a track record or a track that these lenders want to see or these credits want to see. Um, and usually when you don't put it in, it's a guaranteed denial if you don't set the things up the right way. Um, the other mistake I see, I mentioned earlier about people using their home as their home address is their business address. That's always a red flag. And we're in the information age. It's easy to find out whether, you know, that address is a home
That
or
they have their business out of the garage,
yeah, yeah.
you know.
So even
Absolutely.
Gmail account, a lot of people will use a Gmail account on their application, and that's a no-no as well. You have to
Mm.
have when you should have um, a website, and your email should be tied to your business, not to Gmail or Yahoo or
Mhm.
AOL, one of those things.
Mhm.
So, and when people do that, they kind of wonder why they're not getting approved. But that's also another thing. So if you've got a Gmail account, and you're using your home address, that's probably not going to fly. And so I tell people that fundability is a formula. You have to kind of know how to put it together. And if one piece is missing, then lenders will just walk away. They just do.
Okay.
So
So that brings me to my next question.
mhm.
How does GetBiz.Credit actually help and make it, very um, understood by, that particular client in detail, different from, how another company may guide you or how you might try and figure it out by yourself?
Yeah, so because there's a lot of people do try to figure it out. Well, some people don't think about it, but when they do start hearing about it, they try to figure out on their own, or maybe listen to this person or that person who's has have information. What we do is we remove the guessing game out of it. Um, you get access to with GetBiz Credit for one. We show you how to set up those 12 important things in phase one. And then there's another phase where your business has to be discoverable. They have to be able to find it. And so we have to teach you how to do that because a lot of people don't think about that. you know um and we walk you through the entire business setup, the credit building process, the vendor accounts, and the real funding sources. Now you don't have to um, even figure out who is going to give you that. When you become a member of GetBiz.Credit, we actually have all the lenders that will, at each level, that will give you credit. Like I said, when you have no credit, those lenders are in there, so you don't have to figure out, okay, who's going to do it. You can just go into the dashboard. So what we do is we have it's an online dashboard. Once you become a member, you log into the back end of that, and you get to see everything, and also you get to track what you've done, because that's an important part of the process too, because you have to spend a certain dollar amount with certain vendors in a pattern of 2 or 3 months at a time. But if you're not remembering who those were or what you did, then you don't really know. So our system allows you to track that. So it tells you like I said, who you should be dealing with, tracking that you did it, the payments and everything like that. And then as you get to these different tiers, you're also getting to different levels of creditors, or knowing the amount of people that you can actually, the number grows as you go up those steps, the amount of people who will, the funding sources grow. So The portal tracks really your progress. Uh, Again, shows you the reports of funds, when to apply. It's a full system. Now we have a mobile app. It's a dashboard. It's a textbook, a workbook. So every tool. So whether your person likes to just kind of read or have something in your hand, you got the information that way. If you're a digital person, want to be online, you want to be on your mobile phone, any way that you kind of access information, we have thought to put this program in place so that you can have access to it.
Well,
So
that sounds exciting.
yeah, it is.
It
I
really
think
does.
it is.
And I think it sounds exciting because what I hear you say is that, there's a lot of brick walls that, people in the creative industry constantly hit. And it really deters you from continuing with your expression and your voice, that you
For sure,
really
for
want
sure.
to get out. So knowing that there's a route to say, hey, I know for a fact this is what I'm doing. I can follow it. I can understand how I'm going to come out on the other end, and I can move on with creating and seeing my vision. It's just, yeah. So I just need to tell you that. So just the idea of, okay, what do we do next? If we wanted to, get in contact with you, who wanted to say, hey, we're ready to do this now. We want to get it going. Can't wait any longer. What should they do?
Those are the people we really want to talk to.
Yes.
Basically, the they can really just go to the website GetBiz.Credit. So you go there, sign up, become a member. There's a nice little video that kind of takes you through the different membership levels. We do have 4 different levels. There's a basic to just get you started with just literally the basics. We do have like a gold package that gets you a little bit beyond that, get you into some of the basic foundation stuff, but then there's some tier one creditors. And then we have a platinum pack that gives you access to all the information. So you get everything, which is what we kind of do the most. Um, and then we do have a VIP package where we actually do everything for you. So you don't have to do anything. You can hire us to set up everything and get it all done for you. So we deal with a lot of that. And then both the platinum and the VIP level, we do have some financing available. So if you don't, you could pay for it over time. Um, and so that gives it another opportunity. Gives people this makes it more of an affordable option for people to do something that can really help. And one thing I will say, and money is really important when it comes to building a business. You need capital to. They say it takes money to make money, and it really does. And it doesn't always have to be your money though, and
Correct.
that is the beauty of having a system like GetBiz.Credit. So if someone's ready to take action, like I said, we really want them to go sign up for one of those memberships. We even have a webinar if somebody kind of is not really clear on still if maybe hear this, maybe they kind of understand 1 or 2 things, but kind of need a little bit more information. We have a free webinar. We're not charging for it right now. I think right now we're probably giving away too much information in that webinar, so we're probably going to tailor it back soon. But it does go through the whole roadmap, give you step by step, tells you kind of takes you through that whole process. So um, we just kind of spared no uh, process with getting the information out to people. We're really committed to getting information out to people, and so somebody wants to call in, they can also call their office, which is 877-777-0671. It's not the number that's on the screen if that number's still there or not. Um, but the number for GetBiz.Credit is 877-777-0671. That's a lot of sevens. That means it's your lucky.
Mm.
That's a lucky call when you make it,
Yeah.
and you make it be one of the sales reps on the call. But again, have someone just kind of guide you through, take you through getting started, and that's pretty much what we do. So yeah, hopefully
Yeah.
I answered those
Yes,
questions that
you did. That was wonderful. Thank you so much.
you did. Great, and this is a great conversation. I always enjoy talking to business owners, but also talking about business credit, and also I love talking to creatives, the people who are creatives. Uh, I know we covered a lot of ground today, and what I do want to cover is getting business loans with no credit is not just possible, but it's achievable. And so I want people to understand that you can get a business loan, business credit, and not have any credit at all, or not, or have bad personal credit, if you understand how to position your business correctly. So the key is about just kind of knowing what to do. It's about knowing how to do it the right way. So that's what we're kind of talking about a lot. And if you know how to do it the right way, most people get stuck because they don't. So that is the whole goal and idea. They either try to go it alone or make costly mistakes that get frustrated with, and traditional lenders turn them down. People get frustrated with that kind of stuff happening. So, but that was the whole purpose of creating GetBiz.Credit, to guide people through step by step building the business and unlocking funding without risking their personal credit. There's no really a reason to have to do that. So, again, if you are interested, they can watch our free webinar. I said by going to GetBiz.Credit, clicking on the free webinar button, um, and they can join our Facebook group, or again, call in the 877-777-0671 to get answers. So, Ty, really quickly before we do go, how can people get in contact with you?
Um, you could reach me on my socials. I am as the producer 21, all over, everywhere, or Tyjon Tom. Ask the producer 21 or Tyjon Tom. You could reach me at Encore Film and Music. Encore is where I am head of development for indie film and television, and it is a full service production studio along with sets and rental space and production. And we are moving into distribution and being able to build sort of a interactive thing with our creatives in the community, and basically coming in and assisting them with their individual productions from concept to development. And we are just basically supporting that effort for a number of organizations right now. And we're moving forward to being able to like be a presence in the community for film and TV and the creative process.
If anybody's not been there, the place is huge. It's a huge place you guys have there. Lots of different sets and places where you can film and do some things. I got to watch you guys do some little production work there, so I think it's
Yeah, that
really
was
cool.
very fun.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, the
Uh,
opening night. Max
yeah.
did a wonderful job.
Thank you so much. And again, if you guys want to get some, if you hopefully got some good information from this episode, and I want to make sure that you like, follow, and subscribe to the YouTube channel, Mind Your Business. That's it for today. This episode, I'm Max Fortune, and I want to say thank you to my studio guest, Tyjon Tom, for
Thank you.
joining us and asking the real questions that entrepreneurs like you need answers to. And so, to all of you listening live or watching later, remember financial freedom starts with making smart moves today. This has been another episode of Mind Your Business. I'm Max Fortune. Take control of your business, unlock your funding, and as always,